Find out why you should consider adding a Slingshot to your gym bag. This is the second episode of the Slingshot Deep Dive series where I attempt to dive a little bit deeper into some equipment that will help you with your training. Please consider subscribing so you don't miss out on any future episodes. I'll leave a link to the first video right here so you can make sure to check that out and see my review of the Slingshot by Mark Bell. So to date, there have currently been 2 studies published about the Slingshot by Mark Bell, both published in 2017. I'll leave links below if you want to read them yourself. But they both looked at the effects of the Slingshot and its effects on strength and hypertrophy with regards to the bench press. It's kind of cool that they have research on this device. The first study examined the acute effects of the Slingshot on bench press performance, muscle activation of the pecs, delts, and triceps, as well as barbell speed during maximal and sub-maximal loads in competitive male powerlifters. What's cool is, so this study involved 15 male powerlifters with an average competition max of 307 pounds, and they've all been training for an average time of around 6 years. So relatively well-trained and strong individuals, which is kind of cool. And I think that's pretty much the target market of the Slingshot. And the study basically performed 1 rep maxes of the bench press, both with and without the Slingshot. They did a 1 to 2 week interval between 1 rep max bench attempts. All participants were subject to IPF command cues for the performance of the bench press and found their 1 rep max within 3 to 5 attempts. So the main findings of the study were as follows. Unsurprisingly, everybody benefited from the Slingshot, moving an average of 20 kilos or 44 pounds more weight with the Slingshot than without the Slingshot. So that's a pretty significant increase in weight there. I believe they will use the original Slingshot. The heavier the participant, the more they gained from using a Slingshot. And they probably attributed this to the increased chest girth, which allowed for more elastic energy to come from the Slingshot. So think of a bigger stretch in a rubber band. When lifting their raw 1 rep maxes with a Slingshot, average velocity was 3 times faster than without. Using a Slingshot did reduce tricep activation across all phases of the lift. So when you do strap one of these on, you're not going to be activating as much tricep, pec, and delt activation remained the same across the lift as well. When multiple reps were performed, the last rep with the Slingshot was faster than using it without. So this suggests that the Slingshot does reduce fatigue. So basically, when we do reps across, as you get tired without the Slingshot, you're slowing down the speed of each rep slows down as you progress from your 1st to 10th rep. But when you have that Slingshot on, that speed difference is a lot smaller from that first and last rep. So that's kind of cool to know. So the researchers proposed 2 factors explaining the increases in performance, basically momentum from the elastic energy, and secondly, it was better body mechanics from keeping the elbows tucked and more efficient during the lift. So it gave you mechanical advantage as well as kept you in better technical execution of the lift, so for a more efficient lift. The second study wanted to see if the Slingshot would allow participants to bench press their raw 1 rep maxes for multiple reps with the Slingshot. Unsurprisingly, they did this. They only looked at 9 participants, but they all bench pressed their 1 rep max anywhere from 2 to 5 reps. So again, kind of cool there. You were able to overload the movement. So both studies kind of reinforce the fact that adding some mechanical support can help you bench press more weight than you normally would have. The shortcomings of both studies were that they only looked at single instances of the Slingshot. They didn't look at how it affected training over the long run, and both of the studies kind of acknowledge this, and they showed that that's the shortcoming of the study. So it would be interesting to see a Slingshot study that looked at progress over time and see how it does help improve your bench press performance given the long run. Another consideration that both studies kind of highlighted was that you probably shouldn't rely on the Slingshot for all of your bench pressing. I mean, that's kind of obvious. Since strength is specific, there may be some form deterioration if the skill of the unaided bench press is ignored. If you've been getting some value out of this video, please consider clicking that like button as well as subscribing so you can stay up to date with the channel. So here are the 9 main benefits from using a Slingshot. The first 3 come from an overloading principle. So you're able to bench press the same weight for more reps, you're able to bench press more weight for the same reps, and you're able to increase your weekly bench pressing frequency. So the next comes from a deload perspective. We're able to bench press the same weight with the same reps, but activate less muscle, so you're able to deload a little bit there without having to worry too much about losing that stimulus to the heavy weights. Next comes with speed. You're able to bench press with more stable bar velocity for a longer for more reps. So from technical perspectives, you're able to feel what a heavy weight feels like in your hand, so you can bench press those super maximal loads. Seventh, you have an external device that's actually keeping your elbows locked in, which keeps your shoulders tucked in place, resulting in a more efficient lift. Finally, from a pain and injury perspective, you're able to train with elbow pain and you're able to train with shoulder pain, obviously depending on where that pain is coming from. So make sure to watch the next video where I explain these 9 points in details and how you can incorporate them into your training. This has been Selwyn from Wynn Strength, and remember, a better life through strength.